So I try to do things off the court that get into the mind of my kids. And so when I get on the court, I've already got them to buy in. And now I can just use the little tools that we use the excerpt from that book, use the what you wrote down for being able to be prepared. And now I can use that in my coaching and we be on the same page.
Same page, right? That's what it's about. Everybody being on the same page. Not
sure.
one person 2 steps ahead or too far behind. We need to be all together. We need to be in a collective group.
The time is now. On everything. Took my heart away from money. I ain't interested in fame. And I pray that never change. Ambition is priceless. It's something that's in your veins. And I put that on my name.
Only hope I had was selling dope. Was on my grind cause times was harder than to sell a float. My mama taught me never steal and never tellin' folks. I grew up looking up the niggas that was selling coke. Oh, I was raised by the stop sign. No religion, I was getting saved by the Glock 9. By the minute I was getting paid like the hotline. Serving rolling, fiends was calling. We was that kind, well connected, well respected and well protected. And get accepted, was rejected and they regretted. And get my message, wasn't signal when I was texting.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Shooting for the Stars podcast with y'all's one and only host, Cameron Williams. And today I'm here live at Hightower High School once again, bringing to y'all another interview. I'm sitting across from ladies' varsity's head girls basketball coach, Coach Jasmine Brewer. Coach Jasmine Brewer, thank you so much for taking the time out your business. Oh, no problem, bitch. And thank you for coming on this. Like I said, I know it's busy right now. And the only thing on your mind is ramping up, getting ready for y'all debut against Jersey Village soon to come. Okay? I know that's the only goal here is to win and win only. So, Coach, I want to ask you, this is year 6 for you coaching basketball, year 5 for you being a head coach, correct? So I want to ask you, what made you want to get into coaching?
So I was a student here. I played girls basketball here for Deborah Mize, and so I think it's all started just being in this kind of environment where girls basketball is loved, it is looked at as a very positive thing, and it's also invested in. And so just getting into college and going and playing college ball and just falling more in love with the game and understanding, I just wanted to be able to give back because basketball changed my life. Right. And it did so many positive things and continues to do it. So I wanted to be able to give that to somebody else.
Absolutely. And now, as we go back in the last year now, girls had one successful run last year. I went 31-4, came second in district. Y'all led them all the way to the 5th round last year. It was a tough sting loss against Summer Creek. Y'all were this close to getting ready to go to San Antonio. Can you take me through the emotions of such a big game after everything? It ain't easy to climb a mountain.
Yeah.
And what was the message to the team overall after? How'd you move on in a positive way after that loss, ma'am?
Sure. Well, my message is always, even right now, today, we worked out this morning at 6:30 over at the Hobson Steps, and I'm preaching to them the same thing that I did before a big game like that, and that was, we've been preparing for this moment for a long time. To my girls who've been in the program for over a year, we've been preparing in the previous year. So my message to them emotionally was just, this is another game that you have already been prepared for. And go into it and have fun. Of course, the lights are big and the crowd is big, but at the end of the day, when we were in the gym and it was just us and you were having to do that extra sprint or that extra rep, that's how we were preparing. So take it as the same thing. And I'm just so proud of that group last year. We had some great times, and I'm excited now for this year. New start, new slate. That's the past, but I'm definitely thankful, and it'll always be in my heart for sure.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Now, when you get in, I'm glad you brought that up. New sled, new season now. Now, obviously, when we all know the old saying, one class go out, another one steps up, coming right in.
Sure.
And I want to ask you now, what are some qualities and traits you're looking for in these young women to step up? I'm talking about before the season gets underway, through SAT camp, through practices,
sure,
maybe even trials. What are some young, some traits, some good quality traits you're looking for in these young women to kind of solidify their spot and solidify themselves, not just a spot, but a role on your team?
Sure. So, and I say this all the time. I say, guys, like, one thing about me as a coach, I'm really consistent in what I ask for. And that doesn't change, from year to year. I always want them to be sisterly. And sisterly is where we run our program, the sisterhood. I want them to be a teammate first. I want them to want to work. I like girls who like to get it out the mud. I like girls that like to show up early, to leave late. I like girls who want to live in the gym, and also, that they just want to play and love basketball. And then also just, being willing to do what it takes. I mean, it takes what it takes, right? So those are the qualities that I ask for every year, and them just willing to be coachable and be accountable, and let's go. Let's ride.
Let's ride, absolutely. Let's have a fantastic year.
Yeah.
It's going to be work, no doubt about that. And not to piggyback or backtrack about what you said earlier about that senior class last year. That was a phenomenal senior class. We all know that. I mean, we had seniors leading the way, like, of course, Madison Bob, Deja Thomas, Jaya Johnson. But who are some young ladies this year who we might not know yet as the audience, but who you believe as a head coach is going to step up and make a big-time name for themselves this year and be heavily utilized in your offense or defense, just on your team in general this upcoming season?
And so we were returning some great players. I'm excited about Chandler's senior year, Kylie's senior year, Sophia's senior year, Brianna's senior year, Kamora's senior year. Being able to have seniors on a team is a blessing. Of girls that have been in the program, and so I'm excited for them to get their experience and bring that experience back. And then some of our younger kids, like Ogechi Okeke, will be coming back as a sophomore. She had a big year for us last year, and then we're having a lot of girls that haven't played varsity yet or didn't play much last year, going to have more of a role this year. So I'm excited to give them that opportunity to get that experience, the growing pains of learning the varsity game, and it'll be a new identity and a new start, but I love that challenge, so I'm excited about it.
Yes, ma'am. We're excited to see it. And now you say that identity. Do you kind of know it's early in the season now, Coach? But do you kind of have what someone about it as a coach? But you got to think about what the identity of your team going to be, down the line. Do you kind of have an identity or a vision, or you don't know, or you can say you don't know yet, of what this identity or what you envision for this team to be?
So we're still learning it. We're on week 3 of fall ball. We'll go into week 4 next week and finish out, but always defensively sound. I always want my girls to love to defend, love to work, love to be able to, hold people and be able to make people, stressful when they're on offense. The next thing is just to be sisterly, be coachable. But as far as our identity, I'm still trying to figure that out yet. But what I can say that I love about this group so far is they truly love being around each other. They operate well as a team, they care about each other, and they work for each other. And when you have that, everything else just kind of plays into where it's supposed to be. And so we'll see what that looks like, as the coming weeks, as we get into the beginning of the season and get through tryouts and make our teams and see who makes the final cut. So we'll see, but always hardworking, always that dog. I need that.
And a defensive identity. I'm assuming you're a defensive-minded, defensive sound coach first.
Talk about
it. We know any great coach knows if you set up a good defense, you don't got to run no plays on offense.
Sure. No
doubt about that. So, Coach, now another thing with this team now, your job as a head coach is to be a leader, a young woman, and for your case, young woman. So, what are some ways as a head coach you look to foster collaboration and build team camaraderie amongst your team, especially if it's a newer group that we're getting ready to see this year?
So again, that's that preparation part, right? Like that starts way before we bounce the ball. So some things that we do every year, we try to do a lot of character development. One of the things we're reading a book called Mental Toughness for Athletes. And we're going to pass that book through every single team in our program. Right now we're having those who are playing fall ball doing it. But we're going to go from varsity all the way to freshmen to read that book. And we read it. We take notes. They have sticky notes in every chapter that they can have, and then we'll get together in a small group and we'll do our takeaways. We'll do what we learned. We'll talk about how it relates to us individually. So that's one way. We have an initiative called Lead the Pack in the district that is amazing, and we switched it a little bit to fit us, and so it's called Prepared, Accountability and Communication. I let the girls tell me what preparing to win looks like. I let the girls tell me what accountability looks like, in our program, as well as communication. So I try to do things off the court that get into the mind of my kids. And so when I get on the court, I've already got them to buy in, and now I can just use the little tools that we use the excerpt from that book, use the what you wrote down for being able to be prepared, and now I can use that in my coaching and we be on the same page.
Same page, right? That's what it's about, everybody being on the same page. Not
Sure.
one person 2 steps ahead or too far behind. We need to be all together, we need to be in the collective group. And now I want to ask you, Coach, couple more questions. What would you say your coaching philosophy is, and how would you say it reflects your unique approach and niche to the game?
So my coaching philosophy is that it's bigger than basketball, right? So I'm always trying to find a way into the minds and the hearts of my kids, right? And so even in my conversations with them, I'm like, look, we're talking about basketball, but let's talk about life a little bit. And I think what makes me a little bit special is that I am a very observant person. So I try to find little things in my kids individually of how I can relate to them, how I can connect with them, and then I'll go from there. I like to do a lot of one-on-ones with my kids as well. And so that bigger than basketball applies to everything as far as my philosophy. I want to develop the whole part of my kid. I don't want to just develop them physically as an athlete, because one day they'll stop bouncing the basketball. Right. I don't want to just focus on them mentally, because I want them to get better, because they have goals in basketball, and emotionally, and then of course academically. So I try to take a holistic approach to them, learn things about them, build relationships with them, get to know them, and then I tell them, I see how special you are. I'm going to push you to be that special. Do you trust me? If you trust me, let's ride.
Phenomenal words for a head coach. Absolutely. And that's your way to get them to all buy in with what you're teaching. Also, what the culture of this team is going to be.
Sure.
That's why it's always been win, win, win every year, and that leads to winning results. So, Coach, now I do want to ask you now, Coach. Outside of the game of basketball now, in the off season, we all like we all like to get our mind off work now. A little time that we do have. So, what are some hobbies, if you don't mind sharing, you enjoy doing on a personal scale outside of the game of basketball to get your mind away from basketball before it's time to start ramping up again?
I love to fish. That surprises people. I'll fish by myself. It's very calming for me, very relaxing. I love spending time with my family. I have a son that is in soccer, so I love being able to show up for him. I love being able to relax. I mean, I'm a sports junkie, so I'll watch football, baseball, basketball, women's and men's, college sports. I'll spend an entire Saturday top to bottom watching any sport that's on. And so in my off time, when I don't have to be at work, I love to just sit down and relax. My dog's there with me, and I'll watch sports all day because I just love learning. And it's not always learning my actual X's and O's sport, but maybe I'll just learn culturally something, or maybe I'll just watch something and it'll motivate me. And so I'm a pretty laid back person, and I love to spend time and invest in my family when I'm not here, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, when you say about that learning stuff now, another fun question. If any, what coach would you say was most influential in shaping your current coaching style? Rather if that comes from, like you said, the pros, WNBA or NBA, or the collegiate level. If you have a coach?
So I have two, and that's Deborah Mize and Kelly Kennedy. Deborah Mize was my high school coach here, and Kelly Kennedy was my collegiate coach. And I think that I was old enough to pay attention to the qualities that made them special. They're different people. They have different styles, but I feel like I took from both of them and made it my own to match my personality. And so I would say those two people are still very, very instrumental in my development. I just talked to both of them yesterday. And so that is how that building relationship, they help me understand building relationships with your athletes is huge. And so I take a lot from them. I appreciate them.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And that's going to wrap it up today's interview, y'all. Make sure y'all please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you again so much, Coach Brewer, for coming on the podcast. And y'all, if you're in the Missouri City, Fresno, Houston area, y'all make sure this upcoming basketball season to come support your Hightower Lady Canes. And they're going to be in for a phenomenal run. We wish y'all the best of luck, Coach. It's going to be a phenomenal season for y'all. And y'all let me know what y'all want to hear next. And I will see y'all in the next video on Shooting for the Stars podcast with y'all's one and only host, Cameron Williams.
For my ambition. Easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live. They gon' love me for my ambition.